Cześć, witam was bardzo serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku z serii Dragon Age Początek. Tak, jesteśmy teraz w górze. Ostatnio ogólnie wydarzyło się wiele rzeczy, ciekawych, mniej ciekawych. Jedną z najciekawszych jest to, że zginęli prawie wszyscy szerzy strażnicy, jesteśmy jednymi z ostatnich, no i mamy w drużynie Morrigan, czyli jedną z najpotężniejszych czarodziejek w historii Dragon Age. W historii towarzyszy. Nie no, po prostu nie wiedziałem co powiedzieć. Zebrać drużynę i ruszać w drogę. Najpierw idziemy do obozu. To jest tak jakby baza główna, w pewnym sensie można tak powiedzieć. Ponieważ możemy tu rozmawiać ze wszystkimi. Natomiast Morrigan, tu jest Alistair i z czasem będą przybywać tutaj członkowie drużyny. Najpierw idziemy do Morrigan, ponieważ wydaje się ciekawszym obiektem.
If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
Okay.
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Okej, czyli to jest taki jakby... W ogóle Morrigan to jest zmiennokształtny, to jest jedna ze specjalizacji czarodzieja, maga. Potrafi się właśnie zmieniać kształty w różne inne zwierzaki.
No, 'tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
Okej.
I'm shocked that you think so, being a mage of the circle as you were. But perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower. I see. An odd opinion to have, then.
Okej. Czyli Morrigan uważa nas za dziwnego. Chciałem mu coś spytać.
If you must.
Co masz ciekawego jeszcze?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
Na potwora.
You mean, is she truly the Flemeth of legend and story? Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Okej.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden, the tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
O, cudownie. Fajny bard.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement.
Fajnie.
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with
jeszcze lepiej.
coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. Spirits first, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero.
Aha,
Flemeth
okej.
was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
Okej.
The demon
Jest
within
dziwne.
her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Okej.
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery, I suspect, even to her. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Dobra.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
Kim mogła być moja mama?
Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on.
Dobra. Mamy tutaj właśnie... Zwiększyło nam się poparcie Morrigan.
What do you wish of
Jeszcze
me?
możemy z nią pogadać ogólnie.
If you must.
Spędzimy dużo czasu na rozmowach z towarzyszami.
You are very cute to ask so many questions. Of course I don't. 'Tis no matter. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were.
Chyba nie za bardzo lubię Alistera.
But in fact, the Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more. I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Ooh.
Me? No, I never did any of the killing, until later. And even then, Flemeth was a glutton for that sort of thing. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum. Is it true, then, that given enough time, the prisoner will learn to love the cell? The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates, and apostates could become
Nie o to mi chodziło.
evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit. An interesting answer for a mage. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
O nie, mamy minusa.
What do you wish of me?
Mniej nas lubi. Oh no.
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? I did
Okay.
not ask to be left alone. I simply wondered from whence comes this strange curiosity. What a stranger does not know cannot hurt him, but have it your way. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness. Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Was I hurt? What manner of simpering weakling do you take me for? Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally he was arrested.
Sprytna, żmija.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Okej. Czyli zaplusowaliśmy u Morrigan, że tak powiem. Ogólnie chyba dzisiejszy odcinek minie na gadaniu. Sami oglądacie to, więc... To znaczy, że chcecie oglądać. Znaczy, co ja mówię? No wiecie, o co chodzi. Naszyjnik plemienny. To się spodoba.
You have my thanks. A fine gift.
Ona lubi te. Ona lubi prezenty takie jak biżuteria właśnie, coś takiego.
If you must. By others, do you mean yourself?
Być może.
Then I shall teach you what I can whenever we are in camp, provided you have the will to even make the attempt, that is.
Okej. Czyli mamy specjalizację zmiennokształtny, niesamowite. To teraz lecimy do Alistera, który ma o dużo nudniejsze dialogi jakby. Niestety.
What do you need? You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did. I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the blight and everything. I'm sorry.
Za co?
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of. I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him. Yes, I know. I think he came from Highever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just... Yes.
Okay.
Imagine you really have, haven't you? Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
Zawsze do usług.
What do you need?
Coś jeszcze da się?
Ask away.
O Jezu. Kiedy indziej pogadamy z nim. Teraz jeszcze czas trochę się wybrać gdziekolwiek. Tak, tu możemy wybierać postacie. Jeszcze nie możemy ich wybierać, bo mamy za mało jakby postaci właśnie. Teraz możemy iść tylko do Lothering. To jest jakaś mała wioska, z której zaczniemy naszą podróż. O, i mamy jakieś już spotkanie. Na mapie świata możemy właśnie mieć takie spotkania. Aha, cutscenka. Okej.
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly. There are those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this Darkspawn incursion, but we must do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Honora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most fortuitous.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you!
The banner
Ale
will not
skurczysyn.
bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Van Tegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Van Tegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, your Majesty?
No to mieliśmy cutscenkę, w której tam ten Logain chyba troszeczkę steroryzował tych ludzi. W sumie uznał się za regenta. Szpryciarz. A my se idziemy. Od taksa. Pieseł. Pieseł. How, how, hello.
No end to these
Chyba trochę walka. Oj, dużo ich sporo. Dużo ich sporo.
blasted things. This will be fun!
Dużo ich, dużo. Postawię jakiegoś pułapka może tam. I się obronię. Tak, ogólnie Morrigan ma fajne zaklątko różne, takie osłabiające raczej. Wyssanie życia i w ogóle takie rzeczy. Hello. Wesoła merda ogonem i zieje.
I think he was out there looking for you. He's chosen you. Mabari are like that. They call it imprinting.
Does this mean we're going to have this mangy beast following us about now? Wonderful.
Myślę, że kochasz zwierzęta. Okej. Zaszczekał radośnie. O! To jest... Okej, trzeba rozmawiać też z drużyną czasem. Pisz imię dla psa. Jak go nazwiemy? Jak go nazwiemy? Kolporter. Jak ten kiosk. Gdzie idealnie? A, ja chodzę Morrigan. Mogę chodzić Morrigan. Wow. Można też gadać z drużyną na polu jakby, znaczy już w terenie.
If you must.
Takie se rzeczy są. Urlok Alpha. Tam było napisane, że ktoś zaczął do nas czuć sympatię, tylko kto? Tu powinno być napisane. Neutralność. Morrigan. Neutralność. Co? No to gdzie ta sympatia niby? A, chyba on. Nasz kochany kolporter. No trochę. Trochę bardzo nas kocha. Słodki. Wszelkie są kochane i takie... Mabari. Okej, to lecimy dalej. Za niedługo będziemy kończyć ten odcinek w sumie, bo... Też, żeby nie był za długi. Tylko liczę na jakąś dłuższą walkę, a tutaj nie ma żadnej. Znaczy, no walczyłem z tym... z mrocznymi pomiotami.
Wake up, gentlemen. More travelers to attend to. I'd guess that fellow is the leader.
Hello.
They don't look much like them others, you know. Maybe we should just let these ones pass.
Nonsense. Greetings, travelers.
Highwaymen, preying on those fleeing the Darkspawn, I suppose.
They are fools to get in our way. I say, teach them a lesson.
Now, is that any way to greet someone? A simple 10 silvers and you're free to move on.
Spierdzielaj.
Indeed, for the upkeep of the Imperial Highway. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Not much gets past you, I see.
It's not really a toll. We're just robbing you.
Serio?
Do shut up. Even a genlock would have understood that.
Nie ma mowy.
Well, I can't say I'm pleased to hear that. We have rules, you know.
Right. We get to ransack your corpse then. Those are the rules.
Możemy ich zastraszyć.
Mage? Ah, I don't want to be a toad.
Nobody's turning you into a toad, you sniveling bastard. But we'll, let the toad go. Just this once.
Nie, nie chcecie zaatakować.
Don't turn me into a toad!
Musi być walka. Jep. Tacy ludzie nie zasługujecie na... Znaczy może ja ich nie chcę zabić w sumie. Ale chyba będę musiał, bo się nie da inaczej. A kiedy masz jeszcze jakieś te... Oszołomienie. Budum. On ma fajne takie rozdarcie, jakby przeryć tego, wiecie, nie. On ma... No właśnie, takie powalenie fajne. To się przydaje, bo to zagryza na raz prawie.
All right. We surrender. We're just trying to get by before the dog.
Fajnie, pali się i tak sobie mówi.
Yes, I'm a criminal. I admit it. I apologize.
O, oddajesz co ukradłeś.
Yes, of course. The coins we collected are right here. Just over 100 silvers. There aren't any. Just the Templars, and they'll execute me. Bless you. The Darkspawn can have this place.
Spadaj. Lepiej, żebym cię nie widział. Co nie, templariusze zabili? O, to zamarznięte, jakieś takie byle co trochę w sumie. Ale można wywalić coś. Co? Już wywaliłem. Wygnojki. To nadzorca. I jeszcze coś, jakieś śmieci. To kwarc. Przecież nie powiem, żeby kwarc był śmieciem. Dobra. Lecimy dalej, kończymy ten odcinek zaraz. O Jezu, jeszcze jaka scenka.
There it is. Lothering. Pretty as a painting.
Ah, so you have finally decided to rejoin us, have you? Falling on your blade in grief seemed like too much trouble, I take it.
Is my being upset so hard to understand? Have you never lost someone important to you? Just what would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing?
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked.
His navel, I suspect. He certainly has been contemplating it for long enough.
Oh, I get it. This is the part where we're shocked to discover how you've never had a friend your entire life.
I can be friendly when I desire to. Alas, desiring to be more intelligent does not make it so.
Anyway, I thought we should talk about where we intend to go first. I agree. Have you looked at them?
Niby tak.
There are three main groups that we have
I
treated.
tak nam wytłumaczy.
The Dalish Elves, the Dwarves of Orzammar, and the Circle of Magi. I also still think that Arleman is our best bet for help. We might even want to go to him first.
Okej.
Go after your enemy directly. Find this man Loghain and kill him. The rest of this business with the treaty...
Troszeczkę niewygodnie chyba.
Yes, he certainly wouldn't see that coming, and it's not like he has the advantage of an army and experience and...
I was asked for my opinion and I gave it. If your wish is to come up with reasons why something cannot be done, we will stand here until the Darkspawn are upon us.
Dobra, chodźmy gdzieś.
Let's head into the village whenever you're ready.
Dobra. No to już dzisiaj będziemy kończyć. Dzięki za oglądanie i sorry za przydługi odcinek i trochę taki nudny. Ojoj. Nie znalazłeś niczego? A, głupi kolporter. Nie no, kolporter jest spoko. Dobra. Kończymy. Na razie, do zobaczenia. Cześć.